From the very first time Johnny Depp appeared on the screen, one thing became crystal clear. This was no ordinary actor. He wasn't just playing roles, he was reinventing them. He wasn't chasing Hollywood's definition of success, he was redefining it. Johnny Depp's journey is not simply about fame, movies, or money. It's about rebellion, artistry, survival, and the power to carve your own path in a world that constantly tries to box you in. Born in Owensboro, Kentucky in 1963, Depp's childhood was anything but easy. His family moved constantly, living in more than 20 different places before he was even a teenager. He was shy, restless, and carried the weight of a turbulent household. At just 15, his parents divorced, and Depp turned to music as an escape from the chaos around him. He picked up a guitar and poured his heart into it, chasing dreams of rock stardom before acting was ever in the picture. That guitar became his first true love, a tool that gave him a voice when he didn't know how to speak. But life had other plans. In his early 20s, Depp moved to Los Angeles, still chasing music. He played in a band, scraping by with small gigs, barely making rent. Then fate intervened. His then-wife introduced him to actor Nicolas Cage, who saw something in him and encouraged him to try acting. Reluctant at first, Depp gave it a chance, and that one choice would change everything. His first major role came in 1984 in the horror classic A Nightmare on Elm Street. Depp didn't know it then, but he had just taken his first step into Hollywood. Still, the road wasn't easy. His breakout came in the late 1980s with the TV series 21 Jump Street. Overnight, he was transformed into a teen idol, plastered on posters, worshipped by fans, and paraded as Hollywood's new pretty face. But Depp hated it. He felt trapped, suffocated by an image that wasn't him. He didn't want to be a heartthrob. He wanted to be an artist, and that's when Johnny made a choice that would define his entire career. He rejected the easy road of fame and chose the dangerous road of creativity. He walked away from the teen idol image and sought out roles that nobody else wanted. Strange, dark, eccentric characters that broke every Hollywood formula. It was Tim Burton's Edward Scissorhands in 1990 that changed everything. With pale makeup, blades for hands, and almost no dialogue, Depp turned what could have been a bizarre caricature into one of the most hauntingly beautiful performances in film history. In that moment, Johnny proved he wasn't just an actor, he was an artist, capable of giving life to characters that existed far outside the mainstream. From there, his career became a gallery of oddities and brilliance. He was the tormented writer in Secret Window, the undercover agent in Donnie Brasco, the mad yet charming Captain Jack Sparrow in Pirates of the Caribbean, a role that wasn't just iconic but revolutionary. When Depp first played Jack Sparrow, Disney executives were horrified. They thought he was too strange, too eccentric, too drunk-looking. But Depp didn't bend. He knew exactly what he was doing. And when the film hit theaters, audiences fell in love. Jack Sparrow became one of the greatest characters in cinema history, earning Depp an Academy Award nomination and cementing his place as one of the most versatile actors alive. But while the world saw the fame, the money, and the success behind the curtain, Depp's life was far more complicated. He battled addiction, went through turbulent relationships, and faced the kind of inner demons that no award could cure. He once said, "I think the thing to do is to enjoy the ride while you're on it." And that's exactly how he lived, fast, wild, and unapologetic. But the ride came with a cost. His long-term relationship with French singer Vanessa Paradis brought him peace for a while, and together they had 2 children, Lily Rose and Jack, whom Depp describes as his greatest treasures. But even as a father, he carried the burden of fame. The media was relentless, his personal life often overshadowing his work. And then came the storm that would test him like never before. In the mid-2010s, Depp's marriage to actress Amber Heard collapsed in a public and brutal way. Accusations of abuse, defamation, and lawsuits flooded the headlines. Overnight, Depp went from one of Hollywood's most celebrated actors to one of its most controversial figures. Studios distanced themselves. He lost roles. He became a target. The man who had once played rebels and outsiders now found himself living as one. But here is where Johnny Depp's story takes its most powerful turn. Instead of disappearing into silence, he fought. not just in court, but in life. He leaned on his music, his art, and his unwavering belief that the truth would one day surface. And when his trial against Heard became one of the most publicized court cases in history, the world watched as Depp revealed not just his pain, but his resilience. The trial was messy, dramatic, and filled with controversy. But through it all, Depp never lost his sense of identity. He stood firm, calm, and resolute. And in the end, when the verdict favored him, it wasn't just a legal victory, it was a personal redemption. A chance to reclaim not just his name, but his dignity. Today, Johnny Depp stands as more than just an actor. He is a living testament to what it means to carve your own destiny against the sharpest winds of opposition. He is not merely a performer who memorizes lines and plays a role. He is a cultural icon, a man who has taken every scar, every heartbreak, every storm in his life, and molded them into art that speaks to generations. When we think of Depp, we think of outlaws, dreamers, pirates, poets, misfits, and rebels. But the truth is, he didn't just play those roles on screen, he lived them. He walked through the chaos of Hollywood with the same reckless grace as Captain Jack Sparrow, danced with pain as Edward Scissorhands, and stared into the abyss like many of the broken souls he portrayed. His life has mirrored his art, blurring the lines between character and creator, fiction and reality. What makes Johnny Depp extraordinary is not just the characters he's brought to life, or the movies that will forever be etched into cinematic history. It is the choices he made when the world demanded conformity. Hollywood wanted him to play it safe, to be predictable, to take on roles that fit the mold of the conventional leading man. But Depp chose danger over comfort. He chose artistry over acceptance. He chose to be misunderstood rather than be untrue to himself. And that is why his legacy is so much bigger than the silver screen. When the world wanted him to be silent, he spoke. When his personal life was torn apart by accusations, betrayals, and the glare of the public eye, he stood his ground. When the industry tried to erase him, he rose stronger. That resilience, born not of arrogance but of authenticity, is what has made Depp endure. He is not flawless. He is not perfect. And perhaps that is exactly why he resonates so deeply. He is proof that greatness does not come from living a spotless life. Greatness comes from surviving the mess and turning it into meaning. Think about it. In an industry that thrives on predictability, where every move is carefully calculated, every smile rehearsed, every story polished for public consumption, Johnny Depp has built his career on being unpredictable. He has leaned into the strange, embraced the eccentric, and made audiences fall in love with characters no one else would dare to play. He did not fear being different. He weaponized it. And in doing so, he gave permission for others to embrace their own differences, their own shadows, their own quirks. In a world that punishes those who are different, Depp thrived by being unapologetically unique. His story is not about perfection. It is about authenticity. It is about daring to walk through fire and still emerge with your soul intact. It is about refusing to bow to the expectations of others, even when those expectations come with the promise of wealth, security, or comfort. Depp's journey tells us that the cost of compromise is far greater than the cost of courage. So when we talk about Johnny Depp, we aren't just talking about the man who brought Jack Sparrow to life. We aren't just talking about the actor who turned Edward Scissorhands from a silent character into a universal symbol of loneliness and beauty. We aren't just talking about his collaborations with Tim Burton, or the box office records, or the awards. We are talking about something deeper. We are talking about a fighter, a dreamer, a survivor, a man who walked through the flames of public scrutiny and came out the other side still standing. A man who turned his scars into stories and his chaos into art. A man who, even when broken, refused to be defeated. And this is why his journey matters, because it reflects our own. All of us face storms. All of us know the weight of failure, heartbreak, betrayal, or misunderstanding. All of us have moments where the world tries to silence us, to mold us into something we're not. And in those moments, the story of Johnny Depp becomes more than entertainment. It becomes a mirror. A reminder that strength is not about avoiding storms, but about learning to dance in the rain. Johnny Depp danced, sometimes clumsily, sometimes painfully, but always truthfully. And that is what sets him apart. His name, his legacy, will remain long after the red carpets are rolled up and the cameras are switched off. Because names fade when they are built only on fame, but they endure when they are built on truth. Johnny Depp's name will not just be remembered as that of a movie star. It will remain as a symbol of resilience in the face of destruction, a symbol of rebellion in the face of conformity, a symbol of the unbreakable power of being true to yourself, even when the whole world demands you be someone else. When you look at his career, you see more than roles. You see risks. You see a man who deliberately chose to step off the path of safety and walk into the wilderness of the unknown. And that wilderness gave us unforgettable art. But more importantly, it gave us an example of what it looks like to live without fear. There is a line that runs through all of Depp's work. From his earliest performances to his most recent, it is the line of vulnerability. Beneath the costumes, the makeup, the eccentricities, there is always a raw humanity in his characters. Edward Scissorhands was not just about a boy with blades for hands. It was about loneliness, about love, about the pain of being different in a world that fears difference. Jack Sparrow was not just about a pirate. He was about freedom, chaos, the refusal to bow to authority. These roles endure because Depp poured himself into them. He didn't just act them, he lived them. And maybe that is why his story feels so alive. Because it reminds us that authenticity always shines brighter than perfection. That the people who dare to live outside the box are the ones who change the shape of the box altogether. Johnny Depp is more than just a Hollywood star. He is a man who has lived through exile and redemption, through glory and despair, through adoration and attack. And yet, through it all, he has remained himself. Uncompromising, unapologetic, unbreakable. His journey whispers a truth we all need to hear. You do not have to be perfect to be powerful. You do not have to be flawless to leave a mark. You only have to be real. And that is why, decades from now, when Hollywood stars come and go, when new faces rise and fall, Johnny Depp's name will remain. Not just as an actor, not just as a celebrity, but as a cultural force. As a reminder that no matter how violent the storm, no matter how deep the scars, no matter how heavy the weight of the world, you can rise, you can fight, you can create. Johnny Depp is not just extraordinary because of what he achieved. He is extraordinary because of what he endured. And that is the kind of story that never fades.